Today's we're going to be doing some streaming for Unpacking, as that is a game I'm very familiar with, and that I'm very fond of. I want to get into streaming largely so that I can get into Final Fantasy in relation to a later lore project that I am currently working on in regards to white mages in the lore in the setting of Final Fantasy as an archetype. But for right now, as a systems test, we're going to be playing a game I'm very, very familiar with. So there's not really going to be any big jump scares, but I do want to talk about the lore and the implications of the things that we unpack as we, well, unpack Unpacking Simulator. So let's go. So the game starts in 1997 when you're just a small child. And one thing I always like when I come back to this game is this child really does remind me of myself when I was about this age, when I was about 5. In that there's all these little quirky little superhero things and books. And I was a really geeky child, so for me, this is really reminiscent of my own childhood, especially with the troll dolls and the My Little Ponies. My grandmother on my dad's side used to get me My Little Ponies all the time. So this entire first run is a real nostalgia trip for me. And I actually did find out that they did make these plushies into real life things. And I kinda want one. Specifically the pig or the chickens. But it's just a cute little thing. Now, I'm not sure if these are supposed to be cassette tapes or what. I think they're supposed to be cassette tapes. But look, from this really young age, this is a reader. And I don't know. Every time I play this game, I think, man, I gotta get back into reading. But you know, life gets busy, stuff happens. And this game kind of touches on that too, but it also touches on the idea of getting back in touch with the things that make you happy. I always hide the journal under here. I used to, because I'm not an only child, I used to have a bunk bed and I was a bottom bunk kid. I used to hide mine in the slats just under the mattress where this would be. And unless I revealed it, no one ever found it. There we go. Always gonna frame your artwork, put that up right up there. This is actually a detail I only noticed on like my second or so playthrough, is that the album you're essentially making here appears in every run. We will be seeing this book again and again throughout the chapters. It's such the Lisa Frank poster. I'm dying. All the soft sunbeams coming through the window. That's nice. What do you mean he's in the wrong spot? You know what? Yeah, he does deserve a place of honor. You're correct. There you go. Now again, I referenced I was also not an only child. So the finally my own room thing really does resonate with me. Because I pretty much had to share until I was like 15, 16, I also had to share a bedroom because I was the third of 4. here I think they were in college. And I was... So, okay, this kid was a little bit older than me because I was all of 12 in 2004. And this is where you start to see the gaming paraphernalia come in. Which, funnily enough, that's when you start seeing the gaming paraphernalia for me as well. I referenced a little bit ago the idea of getting back in touch with things as you get older. This is kind of me doing that too. That's why we're starting off nice and slow. With a game I already know about. Oh, look, you can see how their art's developed since they were a kid in like the last 6 years or so. Oh, when our little pig friend has lost his little ribbon at some point. Always remember to flush, friends. Oh god, their plumbing's bad. It's still there. It just stopped. Where is it? There's a... yeah. The best pose. Back up where it belongs. I actually used to have these combat boots. They just wore out on me recently. I used to call them my Tifa Lockhart boots because they looked like her red boots. And I loved them to death, but unfortunately they were the kind of worn out you can't fix. I like that she took her toys up to college with her. I don't know. We get into it as the time in the game goes on, but there's these brief moments where you start to see less and less of her personality, and I don't care for that at all. But as we're going to get into, there's lore reasons. It's one of the more infamous parts of the game, honestly. Kitchen. Yeah. Place of honor. Going through this game is always a nostalgic trip because I'm always like, I remember all this stuff. Remember we needed all this stuff to be able to do things like having a separate iPod from our phone, from everything else? It feels so long ago, but it was only like 20 years, which I guess in the grand scheme is a long time, but it doesn't feel like it, does it? Not when you think of it in relation to, you know, technology that has advanced past a certain point. Once again, our achievements and the things we create get a place of honor, just like the sketchbook. There, we don't want it. Oh, but you might get ideas, so yeah, we're gonna put this here. Yeah, to be fair, I should have thought about that. Also, is that a Lupin third reference? I feel like it is, but it might be a reference to something else that I'm not really sure of. This is a going out top, so that goes there. Pajamas. More pajamas. I need cuter pajama sets. I think that all the time. Mainly because I do a lot of historical sewing, and in a lot of earlier eras of history, especially vintage eras, like more recent, there is this very common theme of super cute matching vintage sets for nightwear. And I'm always like, man, I should make some of those. And then I don't. I get sidetracked into a bigger daywear project. Which is honestly what drove the stream, is me working on one of my bigger daywear projects. But every time, that is what I think about, is, man, I should do that. See, look, there's our photo album again. Put you right up here next to our planner. Alright, yeah, we should put your nap clothes down here. Make them easy for you to reach. Towel. Soap. It's also these little tiny human touches that I like that they use this same smiley mug for often their toothpaste holder and things like that. And I like how this one uses ephemera as a way of describing someone's life story without verbally spelling it out for you. Girl, why is your bra? No. I also like the way that you can tell from how they pack, you can learn slightly more chaotic details about them as people. Like that, there was no reason your bra should be in with your bathroom stuff, unless you just happen to forget or something like that. Which, you know, happens to everybody, but it's those realistic details that I'm referring to specifically. That goes there. Case in point. You just forgot. You just forgot. Let's close out this box. Close that behind us. And we do that. And that. One for the hand, one for the dishes. cooking oils go up there. You go here. I also like that you can occasionally hear background noise. I'm not sure if you can on the stream, but you can hear sounds moving upstairs, or what sounds like rain hitting the rooftop, things like that. I don't know, it's a nice background touch that I really like. Alright, which one of you are not in the right spot? Because one of you definitely are. There we go. Okay, let me see here. Or you see how the glasses and things like that don't quite match. They didn't just use the exact same asset to make it over again. But if you open up any normal person's cabinet, usually, the mugs aren't all perfectly matching. And now some people do have matching sets. I did when I first moved out. I'm not precisely what you would call a normal person, so, grain of salt. But, I don't know, it's little stuff. It's little stuff like that. Oh, I know what I did. Yeah, it's you guys. You should be here. Oh, I have to cook for myself. Unfortunately, yeah, that is a skill we all have to develop at some point. Some of us a little sooner than others. So, as you can see, as many of us in the nerd space eventually reach, I just talked about how I've entered mine within the last few years. We've entered the cosplay era of our nerddom. In this case, though, and this is a really good attention to detail, is that a lot of the time, nerddom and cosplay usually ends up interceding in a bunch of different ways. In this case, you can see that she's a roller derbyist. And we see other allusions to that as time goes on. but it really shows in things like how she's cutting the cowl around the sailor suit neck, the length of the skirt, things like that. I also like the little bits of thread here. That does look like my work. But see, you see the derby helmet starting to come out now that we've started to unpack some of the boxes. But I love the insinuation that she didn't even wait to be fully or even mostly unpacked to start crafting immediately. That is just peaked here. Super accurate how crafter folks actually are. I don't even think I was fully moved out here before I started making stuff in the house. She commissioned her D&D part. I should do that. I should commission someone to make my D&D party so that I can put that in the workroom. I'm gonna do it. Me and my partner, we already have commissions that we've made of us and our characters that I still need to get prints for. So how quickly those will go up in the workroom, I don't know. But yeah, looking at that reminds me of how badly I want it, actually. There we go. I guess I should leave that open, yeah? Again, I want to keep her sketchbooks roughly within reach, so that if she gets ideas, she can draw in them. Because very little is worse as a creative than having this idea of what you want to work on and not being able to have the tools to do it because you can't find them anywhere. Which is why, as a creative, it's really important that you develop some kind of system. Otherwise, you are going to make yourself nuts. Yeah. Look at all these places she's been and all these things she's done. Her little business cards, we put those front and center. Gotta make sure everyone knows we mean business. Keep your art books so that you're inspired. In case you need a rest. And so you start to see her graphic design books like this one. which is all about typesetting and things like that. Oh, that goes out in the front room. All her minifigs. Listen, sometimes you just gotta shuffle stuff around because you didn't get it right the first time. There we go. Big and proud. But it's important when you achieve big things like a college degree that you're very open, loud, and proud about it. You have a right to be, you earned that, and you deserve to be open about it. Never settle for any sort of circumstance that demands that you be anything less. This is maybe me telling on myself a little bit, but I feel like just as much as you're learning something about the the protagonist of the unpacking, if you watch unpacking streamers, you kind of learn a bit about the streamers themselves too. And I would be fascinated to know exactly what the way I'm doing things says about me. See, this is around the time I think she just recently got into D&D because she's just getting all the merch for it. She has unpainted minifigs all throughout the house. So I think she just started interacting with these new friends and found a new hobby that she fell in love with. Her college poster's looking a little worse for wear. At one point I thought this was a dice bag because unpacking reveals as much about the streamer as it does the person that the game is talking about. But no, my friend Jared actually told me that that is actually rock climbing gear. So one very passive thing that we found out about was that this person, as well as being an absolute nerd, which we love, is also extremely active. They're a sporty person. Like, we got that with the soccer trophies and the soccer games and all the sportswear, but it's nice seeing the variety of things that she's into. Our girl stays busy, and I like that about her. The yoga mat of good intentions goes over here. That goes back in the bathroom. See, this makes me nuts. It's one thing when it's in the sink where it belongs. Please don't just leave your dirty dishes around the house. It's gross. It's just gross. Look, the stuffies have friends. 'Cause those ones aren't ours. This is when the hen collection starts. And if I was gonna get any plushies from this game, it was definitely gonna be the hens. Because they just multiply. Oh, their favorite series got a sequel. I love that for them. Maybe one day Winds of Winter. I don't get my hopes up at this point. Our minifig goes here with their friends. Red panda in a place of honor. Who went in the wrong spot? Oh, you're gonna make me move it. I bet you are. The first adult apartment is always such a big deal. Congrats to them, though. Okay. So, like many people, I hate this level. I hate this guy's douchey apartment. I hate the way he didn't make any space for us, so we have to physically make the space. And you bet I'm going to. Because, fuck this guy. I just... I'm gonna bite back the rants because it bothers me. It's little things. It's little things like that that he... It's implied he's not even here. Like, his implied girlfriend's not moving in and he's not even here with her. It's the way there's no room for our stuff. Unless we forcefully make room, which I am. And it just... And I'm just gonna take as much space in this shitty-ass apartment as I possibly can. There's my little pincer bug, he's my friend. Thing is, this is one of the few side characters we get in this game, and he sucks. You just instantly get the vibe that he sucks. And you can go, oh, well, maybe eventually he'll develop into a good person. Well, that doesn't change the fact that he's kind of a douche now. Right. What I said. We're gonna toss his shitty books down here. Make room for our epic fantasy collection. That's right. I think it's because I've been in spaces where guys have actively resented women being in those spaces, even if those women happen to fucking live there. And they get super passive aggressive about it, and they do things to tell you, without having the balls to tell you, that they resent this. So I understand that this is probably about 1,000% me projecting my own history with these sorts of people on it. But it's the fact that I'm not the only one who's picked up on this vibe that makes me feel like, okay, maybe it's not just me. And at those times, I did the whole don't want to rock the boat thing and made myself small and did the exact thing that the game implies it would like you to do here. It didn't make it better. In fact, it made the behavior worse. They just find these sorts of people who behave in the way I'm describing just find different ways to be passive-aggressive about it, if you comply. He even puts away his underwear like a douche, I'm just saying. Oh look, we do get a drawer. We get 2 drawers. You know how we get better drawers? By you not putting away your underwear like an asshole. And just on the bed for a minute, because what we're gonna do. Okay, you want that side of the drawer, that's fine, I can work with that. It's the little inconsiderations like that that I think irritate me, because my partner didn't do that. My partner at least made sure there was room for me, and didn't make me feel like I had to cram myself into a corner to deserve to be here. Which is effectively what this guy does. And see how the chicks start multiplying. Big fuzzy blanket right on the end, as it should be. We're not going to take more than the 2 drawers we were given. One, because I don't think she needs that much more. It was more out of principle that I moved everything. Just because it seemed like kind of a dick move the way he did it. Get some color in this fucking apartment. Seriously. And this part is just a nitpick. But it doesn't make you any less mature, less of an adult, whatever, to have more than black, white, gray, and blue as your only color in your house. And I think it's just, I don't like minimalism that much. So this was always gonna kind of grind my gears anyway, because they seem to lean this way, while spreading out what possessions they do have everywhere in a way that makes it difficult to put my stuff away. But also, I know I'm getting preemptively angry because I know what's coming. It's the fact that when she felt comfortable enough to go ahead and craft in the initial apartment right away, before even she finished unpacking, there's no sign of any of that here. I know that's where you want it. I'm sure someone has tried it, but can I move? Of course I can't move any of his shitty ass posters. Yes, I know, I'm going to come back for it when the game makes me, but not before that. So, remember what I said about not being with the sorts of people who make you want to have to hide your accomplishments and hide aspects of who you are? May I introduce you to this guy? Because, yeah, this guy. You start to see, like, The things like work heels, things like that. Like, she's interested in fashion. She's not disinterested. It's just that she's engaging with it a little bit slower than some other people do. But also, she's a little bit of a tomboy. Like, these aren't really big priorities for her. So there's also that to take into consideration. I hate this bathroom with every fiber of my being. Remember what I said about the blue, the white, the gray, the middle. This industrial, like, factory type mirror. I don't know why. I just think it is the ugliest thing. Put your No, Luna, I didn't. Oh, there's something wrong in every room of this house. I would agree. Probably not about the things they're talking about. Do you hate that it's in here? Is that... Alright, we'll come back to you. It probably hates that it's in here. Gonna make me shove this under the... God, I hate this guy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, I'd rather sleep with it than you at this point. Yeah. Yeah, you fucking did. That's kind of the fucking problem, isn't it? See how we instantly already have more signs of her as a person than we did in that entire apartment? Just at first glance. There's nothing wrong with starting over, especially if you're starting over from a place that looks more like you than the place you previously occupied. As someone who's had to do that more than once, it sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. But as someone who avoided doing it for a decade, It's better than staying where you are and allowing yourself to stay miserable in the hopes that something might eventually, possibly, maybe change. Little reminder of who you are. And just as a reminder, a bad relationship, a bad time in your life, it doesn't change. Perfect. Little halos for the friends, a needle in the eye of someone who hurt you. But anyway, a bad time, a bad relationship, a bad anything, it's going to feel like it defines you. It doesn't, but it's gonna feel that way for possibly a long time. But it doesn't fully define you. It doesn't change you fundamentally as a person necessarily. It just gives you time to figure out who this person is now. Heck yes, the Lisa Frank poster is going back up. Thank you. The yoga mat of good intentions is going down here. Well, little buddy's looking even worse for wear. Nope, we need you to remember who the fuck you are. There you go. Front and center. Where are you? Oh, look, she got a new folio in her favorite color. Oh, that's nice. See, it's little things like that that can help you reground yourself after a bad time like this. The small details really do matter. Did she pinch that from his house? Because she didn't have that before the house, and now she has the exact one. I'm not judging, I'm quite the opposite, actually. Or maybe it's just a reflection of something positive she did take from him. Who's to say? There also starts to be more and more pain management stuff, which is a thing that can happen, especially if you experience any kind of chronic pain prior to these sorts of relationships, that you can start to experience more frequent flare-ups and things like that. You start needing more and more assistance. It is unfortunately a part of it. Alright, hun, where do you need it? There you go. Well, yeah, I imagine it would. You grew up, kid. But I think I'm gonna call it there for tonight. We're gonna figure out what's going on with why I'm live but not just on stream. But if you've watched this far, thank you, and I look forward to streaming with you again. Bye.